last question. I'm going to give it to you. And I asked you this before. Your dream subject. If you could wave a magic wand and either write about a certain topic, well, I guess you could do that, or write somebody's biography. Who would it be?
Well, it was Hank Aaron. Um, Unfortunately, he passed. Um, there was a time when it would have been Keith Hernandez, just because I think he's so fascinating, and um, he was the closest thing to having a second manager on the field as I've ever seen. Um, but boy, a topic I would love to do now. Um, well, mm, I don't know. I mean, it's a hard question for me now, because I had an answer, but Keith came out with a book, and Hank Aaron had passed away. Um, so I don't know.
I
I
know
don't.
I told you before, I'm rooting for you to write a book about George Brett. I think a
Oh,
phenomenal book.
it would, and I was just thinking about that the other day. I was watching a game that was being played in Kansas City, and I'm like, yeah, I wonder if he's ever written a book. And I do remember you mentioning that to me. And yeah, that would be a good one. He was the greatest hitter of his era. I mean, there's no question. A combination of hitting for a high average with power, and he was the only guy that absolutely owned Rich Goose Gossage.
Yeah.
It
The
was
Pine Tar
remarkable.
game, the hemorrhoids in the World Series. I mean, look at all this good stuff for you to write about.
There's a lot there. There's a lot there. Yeah. My agent did present me with my next book, book idea, um, that I actually do love. Um, I can't say much about it, but I'll just say that it revolves around the death of Thurman Munson.
My all time favorite player.
Well, I think this will be my next book. So, um,
So Marty Appel wrote the one that I read like 100 years ago. And I don't know that I've ever seen another one.
no, so it wouldn't be a book about Thurman's life. It would just be more or less about, the days around his death. So my
I've got a
agent,
story that you could include in it.
great,
This is
great.
uh this is my greatest story. I'm going to tell everybody now. So I'm in fourth grade. I was a pretty good player. I got beamed in the face and
Oh,
broke like every bone in my face. And I had made the All Star team, but I couldn't play in All Stars. So my dad, I was a huge Thurman Munson fan. So wore two batting gloves, wore number 15. I was a catcher. I was obsessed with Thurman the German. Loved him. So here I am, got this busted up face. I can't play all stars. So my dad takes me to Cooperstown and we go camping in
yeah,
Cooperstown and spend a bunch of days at the Hall of Fame. So we're there, it's August, whatever. And the announcement comes out Thurman Munson dies in a plane crash.
yeah,
So here I am, can't play all stars. I got a busted up face. My hero has passed away, and I'm just devastated. So we stay a few more days, and I get home. I told this story to Brian Cashman once, um, and I get home, and there's a package waiting for me from the New York Yankees. So my
yeah,
dad had written to Thurman and said, "Here's what's happened." And I got sent a team picture and all kinds of stuff. And when I was actually telling the head of IT for the Yankees at the time, this kid Chris Zacco, And he was like, "Oh my God, this story is unbelievable." So he brings Cashman and all these guys in, and I tell the story again, and they're like, "That is likely the last thing that he ever sent out."
So
Uh,
what did he send in that package?
Sent me a team picture, bunch of stickers, autograph. Yeah, cool, cool stuff.
That's incredible. So you mentioned George Brett. Um, so my books, they deal with these players overcoming things.
Yeah,
The book I would love to do, another autobiography with a player, would be one with Dennis Eckersley.
yeah,
There's a lot there, and I've known Dennis for a long time, and he is. I mean, anyone that watches Red Sox games, he was one of their analysts up until last year. One of the most funny and entertaining guys, and you talk about a guy that has been through some challenges in his life. I mean, unbelievable stuff. And so I would put that as my dream project, to work with him. He's a Hall of Famer, so that's great. But I mean, his wife was taken by a teammate. He became an alcoholic. He gave up that home run to Kurt Gibson. Almost ruined him. He reinvented himself. Become this fabulous relief pitcher. There's just so much there.
yeah,
So a book like that, and I've approached him, and he just said, it's too painful."
yeah.
Um, there's even more there too, and so that would probably be at the top of my list. Took me a little bit to think about it, but um, yeah.
Well, this has been a fascinating hour plus. Loved talking baseball, especially in August. We will have to talk another time about how the teams with the highest payrolls could have two sub 500 teams. That's almost mind-boggling to imagine, but it's happening. Keep doing great stuff, Erik. I absolutely love what you do, and it's always fun to talk to a true historian because it is your books are so much more than baseball. Not to minimize the baseball aspect of them,
Yeah.
that's the theme, but there's so much social context in there and other things that I think make them truly fascinating. So thanks for spending time with us today.
Well, the pleasure was all mine. Thank you.
Guys, buy Daybreak at Chavez Ravine or any of his other books. And very important for any author, when you do buy it and read it, leave a review on Amazon.